Let's be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has become quite expensive. With issues of printing shortages due to COVID-19, we had the introduction of what has been termed the COVID sets. These sets include Eternity Code, Secret Slayers, and Rise of the Duelist. Within these boxes were introduced some extremely powerful archetypes such as the Eldritch and Dogmatica archetypes, and important staples such as Triple Tactics, Talent, and Forbidden Droplet. However, due to the hysteria from COVID, sales of these sets were small, and thus scarcity has caused key staples to reach prices of over $100. For new players to the game, or budget-oriented players, this may seem discouraging. However, I will seek to solve this issue. With each deck that's built, I will introduce budget options to certain expensive cards that will let you construct a competent deck for the price of what you would spend on a single costly staple. I would like to welcome you to the Budget Series. What's going on, everybody? It's a pleasure to be here and share with you one of my favorite things in the world, and that is Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't wait to show you all the plans I have for this channel in the future, and I have quite a few of them, especially with the 2021 Mega Tins coming out in the end of September. I'm planning to open 6 tins on the channel, and hopefully I'll get some decent pulls. So let's get some stuff out of the way first. You may be asking me, why did you want to make a budget series? Well, the answer is I prefer not to shell out $100 on a Pot of Prosperity when I can make a deck with it. Me, I'm an avid deck collector. I like building as many decks as possible and playing many different archetypes, and it's just more logical for me to spend the money on a cheaper deck and just have more fun and diversity with other archetypes. You may also be thinking, who's this guy? Well, just to make it simple, my name is Tristan, or you can call me Rescue Fat, either's fine. And then lastly, you might ask, why is the channel's name Rescue Fat? Well, that's a simple one. I love cats, and my cats are pretty chunky. They're also rescue cats from a shelter, and thus I named the channel Rescue Fat. Now, without further ado, let's get on into the deck profile. Today, I'm going to be showcasing one of my favorite decks, and that is Springans Time Thieves. Both these strategies are known for their XZ summoning mechanics and paired together perfectly with their card effects and even with their budget. Spriggans are a strategy that lives and dies by their field spell, Great CNC Gold Golganda. This field spell allows the player to toss one Spriggans card of their choice in order to cheat out an XZ summon of one of the 2 Spriggans XZ monsters from the extra deck. In addition, you may also battle fade one of your opponent's monsters if an XZ monster you control leaves the field. This is important to note because you may use this during your opponent's turn. The choices for these XZ monsters you may summon are Spriggans Ship Explorer or Springans Merrymaker. The only caveat is the fact that if one Spriggans XZ monster is on the field, then we're unable to summon another using the field spell's effect, but we have ways to bypass this within the deck. Explorer is a rank 8 machine which requires 2+ level 8 monsters and has the following effect. You can choose one of your opponent's monster zones or spell and trap zones, detach any number of materials from this card, and if you do, destroy the same number of cards your opponent controls in that chosen zone, and its adjacent monster zones and or spell and trap zones. During your opponent's main or battle phase, quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase. You can only use each effect of Springans Ship Explorer once per turn. The thing that makes this XZ monster one of a kind is that Explorer will target one spot in the main or extra monster zones and then proceed to nuke the area in a cross shape depending on how many materials were detached. With 5 materials detached, you could target the main monster zone under the extra monster zone and proceed to pop one spell and up to 4 monsters. This paired with the fact that Spriggans can load themselves up as materials from the hand, field, or graveyard once per turn means that this boss monster has a recurrable 5-card destruction effect each turn if you are able to attach all 5 Spriggans monsters to it. However, that is easier said than done, because going first this monster has little ways to stop your opponent during their turn. One positive thing though is that both Spriggans XZs can quick effect banish themselves until the end of the turn during your opponent's main or battle phase, and return back to the field during the end phase. This is important because the field spell allows us to battle fade them if we do have the monster leave the field due to its effect. Springans Merrymaker is a rank 4 machine that requires 2 level 4 monsters and has the following effects. If this card is special summoned from our extra deck, we can send one Spriggans monster from our deck to the graveyard. During your opponent's main or battle phase quick effect, you can banish this card until the end phase. Then, if you banish this card with 2 or more XZ materials, you can also send one fusion monster from our extra deck to the graveyard that lists Fallen of Albaz as material. We can only use each effect of Springans Merrymaker once per turn. The fact that Merrymaker can Foolish Burial a single Springans monster is a key point to building board presence and starting our combos. In a best case scenario, if you start with a way to search Great CNC Gold Golganda and you start with a Spriggans Rocky, then you have a recurable engine for the rest of the game. Not to mention that if there are 2 or more materials attached and it dodges for the turn via its banishing effect, we can send any Albaz fusion from our extra deck to our graveyard. With Sprin the Iron Dash Dragon sent, we will be able to, on end phase, add to our hand or special summon 1 Spriggans monster or 1 Fallen of Albaz from our deck. With this special summon, we can bring out Rocky in order to recycle a resource to our hand for the next turn in order to reuse the field spell. And also in the future, hopefully with the 2021 Megatins, Albaz will be reprinted, and thus we can summon Albaz, super polying one of their special summoned monsters during their turn. We will be running 3 Rocky, 3 Brothers, 2 Pador, 2 Bronga, and 1 Sargus for the Spriggans monster lineup. Brothers and Rocky are the most important Spriggans monsters in the deck. If Brothers is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, we can target 1 Spriggans monster in our graveyard except Spriggans Brother, and special summon it in defense position. This allows us to create a resource loop each turn as long as we have Brothers in the deck or in our hand. If Merrymaker is special summoned by the effect of the Golgolganda by tossing a Rocky, we can send the Brothers to the graveyard in order to revive the Rocky and activate its effect to add the Brothers back to hand. This is one of our key ways to outgrind the opponent. In addition, on the following turn, we can activate Golgolganda again, tossing our Brothers to special summon any of the Spriggans XZ monsters, and then when the Brothers hits the graveyard, its effect will trigger summoning back a Rocky again, and allowing us to add the Brothers back to our hand yet a second time. Pador is only run at 2 since this tribute to special summon a Spriggans from the graveyard does not come up as often as you would think. We only run Bronga at 2 since we can easily foolish it to the graveyard from Merrymaker, and once Merrymaker hits the graveyard, we have a free banish target for Bronga in order to add any Spriggans card from our deck to our hand. Sargus is only run at 1 for the name, and on the rare occasion to make use of its effect during the opponent's turn to detach a material from an XZ monster we control in order to pop one of their monsters. In the spell lineup, we run 3 Spriggans Watch, 3 Spriggans Booty, 3 Golgolganda, and 1 Terraforming. Watch and Booty can both search out Golgolganda if we need to, but also have extra effects if we don't use it for that purpose. Spriggans Watch is a Foolish Burial and can add a Spriggans card to our hand if Golgolganda is already on the field, while Spriggans Booty is a continuous spell that allows us to negate 1 effect monster our opponent controls when an XZ monster we control leaves the field. The fact that we can dodge with Merrymaker allows us to battle fade one of their monsters by using the field spell's effect, as well as negate the effect of 1 monster our opponent controls on the field till the end of their turn by using Booty's effect. This is a key factor in controlling the board state and allowing us to win in the long run. We also run 1 Spriggans Trap and Spriggans Interluder. You want to see it sometimes, but not all the time, since it may be a brick if no Spriggans XZ monsters are on the field. That covers the entire Spriggans lineup. In the Time Thief lineup, we run 3 Winders, 2 Adjusters, 1 Basil Ship, and 3 Regulators. Time Thief Regulator is the best normal summon in the deck and acts like a rescue rabbit for Time Thieves. Off this, we can summon Winder and Adjuster in order to add a Retrograde to hand and send the Basil Ship to the graveyard off Adjuster. This allows us to set up most of our rank 4 combos off the bat, seeing as we have a Basil Ship in the graveyard and an XZ monster on the field already. Important thing to note about Basil Ship though, is that it will be banished when it is brought out of the graveyard for its own effect, but if you use it as XZ material and detach it, then it will not be banished, so it's a reusable resource that you can have in your graveyard. For our Time Thief spells, we run a single Time Thief hack, and for traps, we run a single Retrograde, which we may substitute the 1 Spriggans trap for a second Retrograde, because we also use Perpetua, and using Perpetua we can attach the second Retrograde to a Redoer in order to have a bounce during our opponent's turn. The other cards we run is 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Phantom Knights of Shade Brigandine, and 3 Effect Veilers. Shade Brigandine allows us to have an easy rank 4 extension, while Effect Veiler gives us at least 1 piece of interaction during our opponent's turn going second. In the extra deck, we run 1 Sprind, 2 X-Blower, 1 Utopia, 1 Utopia the Lightning, 2 Redoers, 1 Perpetua, 1 Double Barrel, double Merrymaker, 1 Utopic Draco Future, 1 Utopic Future, 1 Megaclops, and 1 Bujinki Ahashima. A lot of these are self-explanatory as rank 4 choices, and the Draco Future is easy enough to make in this deck. Megaclops is also a great boss monster we can reach using Time Thief Regulator combos if the opponent is playing a deck with little to no XZ monsters. Ahashima can be a strange choice, but is extremely useful in unclogging bricky hands when you pull a Basil Ship. The Redoer is also key, seeing as it can dodge until the end phase, and by doing that he activates the effect of the field spell and of our booty. Other than that, a possible tech choice for a little more control going first is swapping out 2 Shade Brigandines with 2 Spriggans Blast. Blast is a decent trap since it can both battle fade 1 monster and negate its effect for the turn, however can be a brick if all you draw is Time Thieves. Plugging this deck into YGO Pro Deck Builder, we can see that this deck comes out to around $62 for both the extra deck and the main deck combined. The main card that will cost you money is Draco Future at $15, but if we want this deck to be extremely cheap, we can throw in a Baguska instead to make this deck $50. I hope you all like the content, and if you want to see me run some test hands in the future, let me know in the comment section below. Please like and subscribe to see more content like this, and I hope you all have a great and awesome day. Until next time.